So today's victim, 2018 Chevy Cruze. The only complaint is check engine light. I don't know whether it runs bad, nothing like that. They didn't mention anything. Seems to run just fine. Okay, let's check codes and see why is the ECM unhappy. So we've got a P0172 fuel system rich, P0101 mass airflow system sensor performance, and a P1101 intake airflow system performance. So I do have another video featuring the P1101 code, and in that video I mentioned that there are several things that can cause a P1101. A P1101 essentially means that what the mass airflow sensor has measured, as far as airflow, how much airflow did that sensor measure coming in versus mathematically on paper, how much, how big is the engine internally, how much mathematically should the engine be able to flow. So a P1101 just means that what we measured and what we should have measured doesn't agree. So I'm going to ignore the P0172 until I deal with the P0101, because the mass airflow sensor is going to have a huge effect on both of these. So let's go take a look at some data. Go back. It's an automatic transmission. We're going to go to data display. Probably want to look at induction data. Fucking touchscreen. Sometimes I hate this touchscreen. Oh, see, and there's the reason why. Back. Gotta do it the old-fashioned way. Blasted back to 1990. Here we go. Okay, so with the engine off, I want to see 0 here. I want to see 0 here. Everybody should agree, right? Desired boost is 9.1. I'm okay with that. That's something the ECM wants. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get it. Mass airflow sensor in hertz. I don't have values memorized, but, that does mean something. Temperature data seems to more or less look okay. We do have a mass airflow sensor performance test, PID. Of course, that test won't run with the engine off, so baro looks about right. I'm checking all these things before I even start. Calculated baro doesn't necessarily agree with actual baro, so that may be something. Okay, that's all I've got. Let's go back to the other fuel system data list. Where is it? Fuel trim. I'm not even going to waste my time with the fucking touchscreen. There we go. Fuel trim data. We've got a long-term fuel trim of negative 29%. That would explain the rich code, because we've passed the threshold. We're trying to take away so much fuel that the ECM has decided, yeah, we've got a rich problem. What am I looking for? Where is it? Is it not in here? How is it not in here? Oh, there it is. Mass airflow sensor grams per second is reading 0 with the engine off, so that is a good thing. Let me start this up. This is a 1.4 liter engine. At idle, a general rule of thumb is that you should see pretty close to engine displacement in grams per second. So if I have a 1.4 liter engine, and let's say it was hot, you had the AC off, you had everything at the bare minimum, you should be seeing close to 1.4 grams per second. That's just a really general rule. Very possible that this mass airflow sensor is reading inaccurately. Don't know yet. Let's see what the fuel trims are doing. Long term is staying at -29. Short term is not really doing much. So short term is an adjustment off of long term. So if we have -29 long and we have 0 short, we're staying at 29. Or if we have -2 short, it means we're going down to -27 total. You add them together. That's your total fuel trim. So at the moment, the way we're running right now, the ECM is happy with what it's seeing, and it's saying, yeah, we do have a rich condition. So we would need to verify if that's true or not. And one of the fastest ways we could probably do that is just disconnect the mass airflow sensor to see if we can trust it. If the fuel trims start going to normal when I disconnect that sensor, it means that the sensor's probably lying. Did you notice how it said evap purge test running also, and then the fuel trim started to move around? That's the computer doing intrusive testing, and it's just doing its thing. Okay, let's set this up a little bit. Lock our parameters up here and then go to line graph. So this is what our fuel trims are doing at the moment, and we're gonna watch what happens when that mass airflow sensor gets disconnected. If the fuel trims immediately drop and start hovering around 0, you know that the mass air sensor is most likely lying. And we do have a mass air sensor code, so of course that's the first thing we're gonna check. Immediately, look at that. Immediately, they're starting to counteract each other and go back towards 0. Okay, so we're hovering pretty close to 0, plus or minus 10 either direction. That usually means that we do not have any vacuum leaks, etc. Because with the mass airflow sensor disabled right now, we are running in backup speed density fuel system mode. Don't tell me it's going to be the same thing. Huh, it is. God damn. Look at that. We've been here before. You may as well just go watch the other video right now, you know that? You should anyway. Watch them both. Watch this one and the other one. Okay? Because, okay, I guess I'm just going to go grab a new filter. We're going to clean the mass airflow sensor. We've been here before. We've seen this move before. Yeah, it's all dirty. Okay, give me a minute. BRB. I think that too many people struggle to install these because they're kind of funky. So you want to make sure that it's on this side first. And then, of course, feed it into the track. But here's what people mess up is that they don't do this. You need to snap it in just like that. And now it's nice and tight. So if you don't snap that, it will fall off and you'll end up with a P1101. Don't do that. Okay, got everything reassembled there. Time to continue. Now we're going to ignore all of this because I disconnected the sensor while it was running and that made it very unhappy. I'm going to clear all the codes and then reset the fuel trims, and then we're going to run it and just see what happens. Engine, reset. What we got? Is it not in here? Intake system learned values reset. That would probably be a good idea to reset that. Go back. I was looking for fuel trim relearn or reset, but it's not in here. Intake system learned values reset. Probably not entirely necessary because the computer will quickly relearn what's going on, but this just helps the computer start back at 0 so that, if there is some sort of fault or whatever, we're just following it for, starting fresh. Go back to fuel trim data. we've got our long term and our short term. Evidently that didn't get reset because it didn't give me an option to. But it should quickly learn, because now we know that at least the mass air sensor should be working better. What's it gonna do? Fuel trim is disabled because we're not in closed loop. So just, see it says open loop right there. Just give it a second. We are now in closed loop. Short term is now going to be making adjustments based off of long term. So if long term is taking away 29%, short term is now adding back 23%, 24%, 25%. And like I said earlier, if the fuel trims cancel each other out and basically equal 0 plus or minus 10%, you're good. That's good. Now, I might need to drive it just to be sure that this thing's good. Let me put it in gear and load it up a little. That might tell you whether there's a boost leak or an induction leak or some other sort of air leak. But look at that. Fuel trims are basically canceling each other out, not only under a load, but at idle too. So almost certainly we have no vacuum leaks, no air leaks, etc. And after I road test this car, it's probably going to be fixed. So if you don't see anything else on this video, I guess that was it. Another easy fix. How about that? By the time I even backed the car out of the door, long-term trim had changed to normal. Plus, so if you add short and long together, we're plus or minus 10%, and that's good. So I'm still going to drive it. Just got back from my road test. Seems to run just fine. No checking in light, but we like to be very specific and very sure. So let's just go check the DTC status, right? It only takes a minute. P1101, show DTC status. This ignition passed. That's good. Okay, great. How about a P0101? Show DTC status. Passed. P0172. Show DTC status. Passed. So this car is fixed. And here's the proof. Anyways, that's all I've got for now. Be sure to go check out that other video, because I feel like I may have shown some better detail on testing the ductwork and all that. I don't know. I'll have to go watch it myself. That was a while ago. All right, that's all I got.